It is now the All-Star break in 2024. As you can see in the standings here, through 97 games, the O's are 50-47, 5.5 games out behind the Rays in third place in the East. And down here in the wild card, a whole bunch of teams bunched up, the O's 3 games back. And just to kind of look at how it's gone down, played pretty uneven since last update through May and June. And really, was starting to get worried here. Lost 2 or 3 to the Twins here, and then 2 or 3 to the Jays, and then 2 or 3 to the Pirates. It was around this time, though, that Mountcastle came back, Verdugo came back in this series during Chicago, and Buxton came back late in June and 1st. So then swept the Cubs, swept the Rangers, which was good. They're both pretty bad teams. That was huge to put those 6 in a row together. Then went to Chicago, who was leading the AL, won 2 of 3, won 2 of 3 in Boston, and then only won 1 of 3 against the Rays, who were in first place. That was a bit of a bummer, and then ended on a high note, taking 3 of 4 from the Tigers. So that's kind of how it happened, kind of there at the end of June, mid to late June, started to get healthy and started to really turn it around. Here in the info, you can see finished May 15-13, 15-11 in June, and then 8-5 so far in July. In runs scored, slipped a bit to 8th. The offense was doing better, but it slipped to 8th. And over here, starters ERA is first. Runs allowed second overall, but that bullpen ERA is 11th. The bullpen, which really, talent-wise, coming into the season, was one of the best in the majors, if not the best in the majors, and it just hasn't worked out that way. So, one big thing that happened since last update is Jack Flaherty missed most of this time. So he's back. He's rejoining the rotation for the second half, but he went out on May 28th, and it's now July 19th. He made 2 rehab starts, you can see there, and was dominant. So he's back now, but survived that basically because of German Marquez and Asa Lacy. Don't pay attention to this rotation down here. I have Marquez and Lacy 4th and 5th, so they will line up to face the Rays in the second series after the break, and then Flaherty will throw the last game of that series. So that's why I have the rotation like this. Oops, I have splits on here. I want the full season. So Lacy, 20 starts, 3.6 WAR. Marquez, 18 starts, 3 WAR. He missed a couple starts. He was out for like 10 days at one point. I avoided putting him on the IL. So, Asa Lacy is just awesome. He's on pace for 6.1 WAR. His FIP and ERA are both below 3. Home runs are below 1 per 9. Walks at 1.4 per 9. And, just his splits by month are just crazy. In June, a 1.52 ERA with a 1.72 FIP, a 1.69 ERA so far in July. He's just been one of the better pitchers in baseball. He made the All-Star team. Him and Marquez were the 2 All-Stars. So Marquez with 3 WAR, they've just they're keeping us afloat through that Flaherty injury. They were awesome. Durbin Feltman has been one of the few bright spots in the bullpen. ERA and FIP both below 2. Hall and Castillo have both been solid. They've both been solid. ERA is right around 4, which, as you can see, the ERA is is above 100, so that means they're better than league average in ERA, and their FIPs aren't too much higher than their ERA. And then Flaherty, of course, injuries. Grayson Rodriguez made 8 starts during the Flaherty absence. He's put up 0.5 WAR with a 4.62 ERA in 28 games, 78 innings. Totally serviceable as a 5th starter there. And then it starts to get a little messy. Andrew Chafin has come back down to earth a bit after a good start, but his ERA is still at 2.95. Jordan Hicks, he's a FIP of just 4.17, well, not just, but compared to his ERA of 6.28. This guy is as talented as any pitcher in baseball, and he's striking out 11.69. The BABIP is 370, though. Just really bad luck, and he hasn't been that good. J.D. Hammer has been pretty mediocre. Connor Jones, who has been the best reliever in baseball the last 2 years, a negative 0.1 WAR through 29 innings, and then Will Smith and Archie Bradley both with negative 0.4. As the trade deadline comes up, this will certainly be an area I look at. I'm just not sure who to cut. Hicks, Jones, Feltman, they're all going to be on the team. Smith has lost his setup role. Bradley was by far the worst guy for a while and has really turned it around the last month or so. Hammer, I think, is solid. I'm not really sure what to do. If I bring in an awesome reliever, I'd have to get rid of one of these guys, and all of these guys have the potential to be back end of the bullpen arms. I'm not going to trade for a long reliever or specialist. I feel like I'm solid there. So the bullpen has been a failure, yet it's likely, on paper, the strength of the club. Although that rotation with Flaherty, Marquez, and Lacey now is awesome. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I'm really torn, just because I'd have to be kicking out a guy who has as much or more talent than the guy I'd be trading for, and it's really hard to make a decision on these. Or not hard to make a decision. It's I'm basing these samples are 30 innings. Anybody can have a great or terrible 30 innings. So are these guys going to be better moving forward? Their track record and the scouting suggests they will be. So I might just stand pat unless something really good comes along, but I'm just not sure who I'd bump out of the bullpen. All right, moving over to the offense. Finally, we are healthy. I mean, every hitter was hurt, it seems like, at the last Edman and Hayes have both been healthy and both put up over 2 WAR. Hayes, it's a bit fueled by good luck on balls in play. His BABIP is 357, and his career BABIP is like 280 or something. So he's not striking out less or walking more. He's just getting luckier on balls in play. But hey, we'll take it. Good season so far for him. Verdugo, of course, missed like a month, but he still put up 3 WAR. Mountcastle is back and hitting well. Rutschman, a 101 runs created plus, and he had a pretty average year last year. He's turned into a solid starting catcher for me, but certainly not a superstar. More following, he's a bit better than Matt Wieters, maybe, I guess, but following that Matt Wieters track of never turning into that superstar you were projected to be, just being good, just being a good major league catcher. Larnach started slow, but has really heated up. He's up to a 120 runs created plus, only 1.5 WAR. Gunnar Henderson, he doesn't play every day, but he plays enough. 67 games, and he missed some time actually too. I remember now. Completely league average runs created plus and 1.1 WAR, which if he did, if you doubled that in the second half of the season, would be right around league average in both categories. So rookie year as a shortstop, being a league average player, I'll take that. Caden Grenier has been great the last month or so, one of the better hitters on the team. He doesn't play every day, but he kind of fills in different utility roles. And now that Bannon is back healthy, it's been hard for him to find regular bats, but he's had 195 plate appearances, 280 for Henderson. He's put up 0.9 WAR, 105 runs created plus, and he's been really good lately. Backup catcher's been solid. Nick Maton, man, look at this guy. Rookie year, 6.9 WAR, then 3.5 WAR, and now just 0.5, on pace for 0.9. Runs created plus, 142, 101, and now 77. I don't know. I don't know. I don't necessarily plan to move on from him, but at the same time, do I need to bring in somebody for the stretch run, like an elite bat? Because we're really stocked up this year. Verdugo's a free agent this year, so is Marquez. This is the year to do it, and I just don't have time for Nick Maton being mediocre. So then Kyle Isbell is the fourth, fifth outfielder who's totally fine, adequate, average outfielder. Ryland Bannon, he's struggling to get full-time at bats because I'm still playing Maton some. I've got Grenier in there. Edman takes up middle infield or second, third at bats. So he's played 9 games. He came back towards the end of June, so he's playing over half the time. But he's got a 97 runs created plus, which is pretty nice. He's going to steal at bats from Maton if Maton doesn't pick it up because Bannon can play third. And then Byron Buxton is back. He missed about 35 games, but just that bat, 45 runs created plus and negative 0.1 WAR. I've thought about upgrading in center, and I do have upgrades in the minors. I just am kind of sticking with Buxton because of his defense and hoping his bat becomes adequate. That's another, I'm just kind of thinking aloud here. It's another area I could choose to upgrade, but if I think, and I've looked at it, and there are second, third baseman, and center fielders all out there I could trade for. I'm just not sure which ones make sense for me. It's hard because I feel like where my holes are on my team, maybe in the bullpen, third base with Maton, / second base, depending on where you're playing Edman, and then center field, I feel like the track record and the ability of the guys that I have are just as good or better than who I'd bring in. So that's why I'm kind of struggling with what to do at the trade deadline. But I'll look at it some more. Really, this is a year to trade with some urgency if I feel like it's an upgrade. But it's just like, okay, it's an upgrade over what Nick Maton's done for 3 months, but is it an upgrade over what Nick Maton's going to do The rest of this season, hard to say. So let's go to, oops, I didn't mean to go to standings. Let's go to statistics here. League leaders, probably not a lot going on in the hitters for the Orioles because everybody's been hurt. Alfonso Rivas, who was that guy I got from the Cubs, is like a throw-in trade in like 2020, and then I traded to get Alex Wood back in the day, leading the league in on-base percentage. Another monster year from him. He's put up 4.5 WAR in 96 games. So, oops. He's 25 and he was good, but he really hadn't put it together at the major league level. And then all of a sudden he goes to Philly and he's one of the better hitters in baseball. But I have Mountcastle and Larnach at first, and DH was the only place he could have played. So no big deal there. Who's leading in WAR? Oh, Ozzie Albies. Oh, and Acuna. 6.2 and 5.1 WAR. So the Braves are living well. And then Swaggerty. Okay. Rivas is up there. Bo Bichette, Franco, Yelich. And then if we go to pitching leaders here, let's see. We might have some. Lacey Marquez might be on these. Oh, yeah. Okay. 3rd and 4th in ERA. Lacey's tied for 5th in wins. Michael Bowman, who is a former Oriole. I traded him in the Buxton trade. He made the All-Star team. He's leading the league in wins, which who cares? But he's got 2.6 WAR, which is, as you can see, major league level. He put up 1.4 for me, and then he went to Minnesota in 2020. He put up 0.6. So a career year for him at the age of 28. That's fine. That's going to happen sometimes. Not too worried about it. And then pitcher WAR, Asa Lacy is 2nd. He's 2nd behind Mackenzie Gore here in his rookie year. Marquez is 7th. Other names up there, Cease, Syndergaard, Eduardo Rodriguez for the A's is up there. Mackenzie Gore has 3 shutouts. Wow, that's awesome. And let's see, Marquez is 4th in walks per 9, 2nd in whip. FIP, we've got Lacey 2nd. They're both in the top 5 in ERA plus. I mean, those are 2 of the best starters in the league, and now I get Jack Flaherty back. So I'm feeling good about my team just being healthy, being able to make up the rest of the ground. But we'll see. Go back to the standings for a second. I know I didn't look at too much of the league anymore, but the White Sox, even though the projections said they weren't going to be as dominant this year, are awesome, 58 wins. The Astros, Angels, and A's are in a 3-team race in the West. Braves are starting to run away with the East. Pirates and Reds kind of hanging in it there in the Central, and then Padres and Dodgers, which has been the story of the sim in the West. So now just to look at the minor leagues. So when they did the minor league updates to the farm system rankings, which they do around the All-Star break, jumped from 10th to 4th. And most of it was that I now have a 16-year-old who's the 14th best prospect in the majors. My scout found him on a scouting trip, and his name is Oscar Medina. He's 16, so this ceiling might not be nearly what he becomes, but he looks like he could be awesome. So we'll see. He's now my top-rated prospect. He's not going to even play rookie ball for another year or two, so he's a long ways away. Bob Maldonado is having a nice season, and he was an international free agent signing in 2022. He's 18, and he's in rookie ball, off to a nice start. Miles Jansen, who was my first-round pick this year, I started him at low A because he's so old. He's 23 and 169 nice days old. And he had 2 good starts, so I bumped him up to high A, and he's now in high A and is the 92nd best prospect in baseball. And then Drew Bowser has spent some time up this year. He got 83 plate appearances, put up a 94 runs created plus, 0.4 WAR, but he's back down. I think he will work his way into the plans next year. And let's see, Jack Perkins, the 8th overall pick in 2022, is struggling in Double A. Mike Angeletta, who was my first-round pick, 21st overall in 2023, is struggling in low A bit, negative 0.1 WAR. So he's really struggling with the glove, it would appear, because his runs created plus is 100. I think I have him. Yeah, I have him working on his shortstop, and he's really just not very good there yet. So that's dragging down his WAR. And then let's see. I did make one trade. So I traded for this guy, Luke Little. This is a 23-year-old. Right now he's a reliever, but he projects to be a starter. He was in the majors for Seattle. I just don't have room for him. And what I did was I traded Johnny Reiser, who is a left left-handed hitting outfielder who really should be in the major leagues and deserves to be, and looks like he will be for the Mariners. I just had like 4 really good left-handed hitting outfielders in the upper majors, and I just didn't have room for him. I'm sure he's going to go to Seattle and be pretty decent. So I got Luke Little because he has 2 option years left. He is a former 4th-round pick in 2020, worked his way up and was pitching in the Mariners rotation. He's not going to make mine. Back in 2022, he's the number 100 prospect in baseball. He's like in the 300s now. So he's going to go to Norfolk. He'll probably be a guy who kind of rides that shuttle for a year or two, but a ground ball pitcher who, out of the bullpen anyways, where he's now can throw 101. I don't think he hits that as a starter. And then just to kind of look at the 40-man to other guys who have contributed this year, Colton Eastman's been up and down, has been fine some. Tejada has not been up. Joey Yancey is a 29th-round pick from 2020 who has worked his way up to AAA and has actually pitched 21 innings in the majors this year as kind of a guy who rides the shuttle, but a 6.86 ERA, a little rough for him. Let's see. Max Alba is a guy that I traded for last year with the Dodgers in that Correa trade, and he's been up. He's pitched 11 innings to a 4.91 ERA and a 2.67 FIP, so he's kind of ridden that shuttle as well. A couple other guys who have done that. There's Luke Little. Ty Tice has been up a little bit and pitched fine. Griffith has not. Zach Watson was up for some during the injuries but didn't play a ton. Bowser, of course, is in AAA and 22-year-old infielder who's going to be in the future plans, and he'll be first up if there's an injury. And then here's some of the million outfielders I have. Daniel Cabrera. Sandro Fabian was up for a while. He's a righty, and he hit well. What did he do? He had a 128 runs created plus and 110 plate appearances for me during all those injuries when Buxton and Verdugo were down. I think he will be a leading candidate to come up next year when Verdugo is gone. But then the guy who is just killing it, Reese Albert, has put up 2.9 WAR and a 129 runs created plus. I have thought about finding a way to jettison Buxton and bring in Albert to play him. I just don't want to bring in a guy who's only had 80 major league plate appearances and was below average in it in the middle of a race when I know Buxton's going to field. But I think Albert might find a way to be our center fielder next year with the way he's playing. So that's kind of the brief organization update. Did I cover everybody else? Yeah. So that's where things stand. We will see what happens with the trade deadline. I'll probably do an update after that. Like I was saying earlier, I just feel kind of stuck with what to do in terms of, am I just, I don't want to trade just for the sake of trading. If I can land a star, I will do it. I would say one guy that I have my eye on here, Ketel Marte, who's 30 and in the last year of a deal. He's with the Rangers now. He could come in and play a decent second base. So he just hasn't been an everyday player for a while. He's got platoon splits, I guess. He plays a lot against righties, which is not. I need more help against lefties. But solidly 20 to 25% above league average hitter in limited playing time. So I thought about bringing a guy like him in. That could happen, and I could play him at second, slide Edman over to third, and then probably option Matan or Bannon to the minors, and the other one would be the backup. So that's one thing I've thought about. But other than that, I'm just not really sure yet what I'm going to do with the deadline. So that's the end of this update. I will update after the trade deadline, and then we'll see. A really important few weeks here for the Orioles with playing the Rays and other teams that are in the thick of the race. All right.